Hey everyone, it's Matt Mamba, and today we're gonna be the unbiased third party of this controversial Michael Jackson conversation, and we're just gonna lay the facts down and just be totally unbiased. And it's okay, I see what you're doing there. We're gonna remove that from the frame. We're gonna take off the hat and this jacket that doesn't fit me anymore, so it's gonna be really hard to get it off. Alright, so just a little heads up for like the 100 people that usually watch my videos. This isn't like my typical videos, alright? We're talking about something completely different. And if you couldn't get that from the title of this video, the thumbnail of this video, and the intro of this video, well then you're freaking stupid. So I don't know why I'm doing this disclaimer. Also, we're gonna ignore that poster right there. I haven't hung it up in my room yet, and it's kind of convenient. It's also kind of not, because everyone's just like, oh, like you've never seen him before. That could be taken out of context, and it might hurt my points, it might not, but we're going to ignore that. Alright, so there's not a lot of things that get me ticked off in life. It's a very short list, and it consists of 3 things. 1, people who don't eat pizza crust. Like, what the frick is wrong with you? Just freaking eat it, dude. Number 2, people that say I look like Chris Farley or the fat kid Mikey from Recess, that show. You guys know? I have a picture up somewhere, so that's cool. And the third thing is when people call Michael Jackson a pedophile. Those are the 3 things that tick me off. We can get those pictures off the screen now, can't we? Thank you. If you don't know what this video is about, it's about the Leaving Neverland documentary. It's about 2 men, Wade Robson and James Safechuck, alleging that Michael Jackson sexually abused them. But then the second thing that really ticked me off was a YouTuber I watch pretty frequently, H3H3 Productions. They were talking about the Leaving Neverland documentary on their podcast, and I'm like, oh god, here we go. And then I heard their points. It was so awful. That was strike 3. It was so bad it skipped right over strike 2. That's how bad it was. So basically what I want to do is go through H3's podcast and in the segment where he talked about Michael Jackson, give counterclaims and counterpoints to all his points that he made, and then we're just going to have a good old time, and I'm sure it won't get controversial at all. So let's just jump into it.
But I was just surprised by that he had so much sway and pull, and people cared so deeply about him still to this day. So it is a testament. First, it almost is a testament to the fact that the world has been groomed. Because now, even 10 years after his death and long after he had an active career, I think, goes to show that even now he has this army of people that can see no wrong in him going to war.
Yeah, that proves it. He's been grooming the whole world this whole time. It's not like he's just a big name celebrity that has fans that love and support him. That goes for online personalities too. I'm sure if H3H3, anytime they mess up, their fans go to bat for them and support them. Look at PewDiePie. He dropped the N-word on a live stream, and there were thousands and thousands of people saying, oh, he didn't do anything wrong. That's just what fans do for popular people, all right? So don't use that as an excuse for him, like, oh, he's been grooming us this whole time. No. So I'm just going to quickly define grooming for anyone that doesn't know what that means. I'm going to be referring to this side. My face is going to be here, looking here, because I typed out a script for everything I want to say, and I want to make sure I'm clear on what I say and it actually makes sense. All right? So what grooming is, it's the process the offender goes through in order to draw his or her victim into a sexual relationship and make sure the victim never tells anyone. So yeah, I think that's a little different than people that like his music and dancing and want to defend him after his death because, he was exonerated in court, and now 2 proven liars 10 years after he died are trying to say that he sexually abused them with millions of dollars for them to gain if people start believing him. All right, so I think that's a little different than him luring freaking little kids in, trying to bone them.
What I like to talk about here is undeniable, undisputed facts. Okay, I'm not going to talk about conjecture. I'm not going to make assumptions. I'm not going to say stuff that hasn't been proven. I'm just going to show you an undisputed fact. Here's a video of Michael with one of his childhood friends. Okay.
Sleep on the bed, sleep on the bed. We're like, no, you sleep on the bed. And then he finally said, okay, if you love me, you sleep on the bed. I was like, oh, man.
So here you can hear the kid saying, I didn't want to sleep on the bed. Oh, man. Michael Jackson here is shown manipulating this kid and saying, if you love me, exactly, pressuring him, if you love me, the God that you look up to, you'll sleep in my bed.
Oh, God. Your first point, your first hard-hitting, undisputed fact is a major whiff. This clip was taken completely out of context. Had you played like 10 seconds earlier in this interview, you would see that the kid actually was the one that asked Michael to sleep in the bed, and they were arguing back and forth like, no, you sleep in the bed, no, you. They were talking about who was going to sleep on the bed, who was going to sleep on the floor.
There was one night I stood in there, I asked him if I could stay in his bedroom. If you love me, you sleep on the bed. I was like, oh man. And so I finally slept on the bed. But it was fun that night.
I slept on the floor. He said, you can have my bed if you want. Sleep in it. I'll sleep on the floor. You can. It's yours. Always give the best to the company, you know? Like to him, I said, because he was going to sleep on the floor. I said, no, you sleep in the bed. I'll sleep on the floor.
But haven't you got a spare room or a spare house here where he could have stayed?
Yeah, but no, yes. We have guest units, but whenever kids come here, they always want to stay with me. They never want to stay in the guest. And I have never invited them in my room. They always just want to stay. They say, can I stay with you tonight? I go, if it's okay with your parents, yes, you can.
I'm not going to stand here and act like, oh, sharing a room with frickin' a kid is normal, but there was no sexual harm, and you're completely butchering the context of this freaking clip. This clip actually comes from the Martin Bashir documentary, Living with Michael Jackson, and it has become infamous because it was edited to frickin' heck to tell a completely different story than what actually happened. A little fun fact, Martin Bashir actually admitted to staging that very segment that you were calling undisputed evidence.
Wait, there was something I want to show you guys. One more thing here from this clip. Let me find it. Yeah, watch this. This part here. Very unsettling.
People hear that children from other families have come and they've stayed in your house.
Look at them holding hands.
They've stayed in your bedroom.
Okay.
Well, very few.
And look how his head is on his
some
shoulder.
have.
I mean, what the?
And they
That's
say-
that's not how you act with a friend. Let's say Michael has the mentality of a little boy and he never had a childhood, and so that's why he likes hanging out with friends. What the? How do you explain this?
Wait. You know how Bashir... Hey, you know how Bashir zoomed in on him holding hands? Do that the same thing.
Because, you know...
Because that's what a mother
Like, you
does
know,
with
a
a
father
son,
does.
or a father does with a son, you know? And they try to make it out to be something wrong and dirty.
It was so bad that there was a 1-hour follow-up documentary called The Footage You Were Never Meant to See, where they completely debunked how horrible this documentary was edited and presented.
Not a true representation of the interviews that actually took place. In the next 2 hours, we're going to give you an opportunity unprecedented in the history of television. We're going to show you footage that was never intended to be broadcast.
Tonight, the private video from Michael's own cameras. Cameras that shot the Michael Jackson interview. The footage you were never meant to see.
The creator of this documentary, Martin Bashir, was on ABC and other places, even in the documentary, talking about how alarming his relationship with these kids were. But this is what he had to say after he died.
Certainly when I made the documentary, there was a small part of that which contained a controversy concerning his relationship with other young people. But the truth is that he was never convicted of any crime. I never saw any wrongdoing myself. And whilst his lifestyle may have been a bit unorthodox, I don't believe it was criminal. And I think the world has now lost the greatest entertainer it's probably ever known.
Robson.
Wade is super interesting because he was with Michael Jackson, and I say with because they were in a relationship for 7 years. Now, he would call and talk to the mom every day. And this is corroborated because he sent faxes to the family, he sent video messages to the family, he sent drawings, he sent letters, left messages. They have all of this evidence of him talking, best friends, connecting so powerfully with the mom. He would call and talk to the mom, he would call and talk to the kid.
Yeah, they have all the evidence of innocent talks and being friendly with Wade and his family, but all the evidence of phone messages, letters, faxes, all that stuff that could be incriminating that they talk about in the documentary, oh, they don't have those. Why would they?
And Wade is the guy that people keep bringing up as so uncredible because he testified he testified that nothing happened with Michael twice.
Mm-hmm.
But his story was so crazy, and they explain it so detailed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would hope his story is crazy and detailed because this is like the fourth version of this story we're getting. He keeps changing it. Let's talk about Wade Robson for a second. Now, before I completely go into this guy, I just want to let you know in the description, I'm going to put all the links to articles, sources, everything that I collected for this video. All that will be down below so you can verify the information that I sent you, that I've presented to you. So I'm just going to read it off of here because I don't want to mess anything up. Between 2012 and 2014, Wade wrote 2 drafts of an abuse memoir and tried to sell them to publishers. He also lied under oath, saying he never discussed these allegations with anyone besides his lawyers. But Michael Jackson's estate actually found out he was shopping for book deals with these stories. The court ordered him to bring forth the drafts of the books, and they showed the story of his abuse and was being changed significantly from one draft to the next. Then Wade was ordered to release his emails as evidence, but he kept breaching that order, at first saying, oh, the emails don't exist. And then he later just flat out refused to present the emails. And then he later redacted emails between him and his family, saying it was attorney-client privilege. But none of his families were attorneys, so that doesn't make any freaking sense. Finally, he complied and released those emails, but those emails revealed he was constructing his lawsuit and abuse memoir. He was emailing himself links to old tabloid newspaper stories that covered allegations against Michael Jackson. One of the emails showed Robson found a story in the 90s that actually talked about him and his mother. He emailed the story to his mom, and she replied, wow, none of that is true. But he still included it in his story. Robson and Save Chuck keep talking about, oh, we're not doing it for the money. We're doing it because we want to help those other victims that haven't come forward yet and show them that they can bring justice to their abusers. And that's not true, because the lawsuit that they originally filed was originally filed under seal, and Wade tried to get a settlement from Jackson's estate with zero media publicity. He only went public after the estate refused to pay him anything.
And so these guys, both of these guys in the video, they both had sons, and they both started having mental breakdowns when their sons started to reach the age that they were when the abuse started.
Yeah, they both also started to realize this conveniently when they both were having failing careers and needed some of that money.
Guys, he never slept with... All of the boys he befriended were like really handsome models. One was a TV commercial. Yeah. One was a dance. Like, these were really handsome, beautiful young boys, yeah. Right? Not fat boys, not ugly boys, not little girls. It's very frickin' true. Why? Mm-hmm. Explain that.
Yeah, you had a type.
And Dave, yes, that's his name, Dave. He was David Rothenberg. He was set on fire in 1983, suffered, as you can see, terrible scars. Michael Jackson befriended him and paid for a lot of his surgeries. And what did he do for you?
Well, basically, he befriended me. He took me into his life, which is very rare for Michael to do. But he opened up his arms to me and accepted me as a very good friend of his. And throughout the years, he never let me go. He was almost like a father that I never had.
All of the boys he befriended were like really handsome models.
Michael Jackson befriended him and paid for a lot of his surgeries.
Basically, he befriended me.
Okay, look, I'm not trying to be mean and call that guy ugly, but, I mean, your point is he befriends only good-looking boys, and the guy just showed you, let's just say, you wouldn't traditionally associate what he looks like as good. Look, he was in a fire and his face got messed up. Okay, what do you want me to say? This isn't the traditional good-looking guy. This disproves, oh, he's got a type. He only hangs out with good-looking fellas. Doesn't hang out with girls. He hung out with hundreds of small little children. He hung out with all kids. It didn't matter your race, your gender, your religion, your political views, whatever it was. It didn't matter to Michael Jackson. He just wanted to bring happiness into kids' lives. He's visited hundreds, maybe even thousands of children's hospitals all around the world. He just wanted to bring happiness to their freaking lives that were just... They were dealt a bad hand in life, and he's trying to make it a little better. And the fact that these accusations come out, that's what really ticks me off, because Michael Jackson was just such a caring guy, and people are using him for money.
The crazy thing is, too, I just got to say, it's like, even if you accept nothing happened, which obviously is far-fetched, but nothing sexual happened, the things that are overt, the things we know about, those are abuse. Like, you know, having a 7-year-old sleep in your bed with them.
30 days in a row.
Right, that's going to twist them up. Like, even if nothing sexual happened, that's still abusing that kid.
That isn't a fact. Michael and his legal team have never said they slept in the same bed with the kids. Do they sleep in the same bedroom? Yes, but Michael Jackson's bedroom is not the same as your bedroom or my bedroom. I think Macaulay Culkin did a great job of explaining this.
What happened at the house? That's what all these things that people are
that's
concerned
what's
about.
so weird, you know.
What did happen?
Nothing happened, you know. Nothing. I mean, nothing really. I mean, we played video games, you know. We played it at his amusement park. Well, the thing is with that whole thing is that, you know, they go, oh, you slept in the same bedroom as him. It's like, I don't think you understand. Michael Jackson's bedroom is 2 stories. And it has like 3 bathrooms and this and that. So when I slept in his bedroom, yeah, but you have to understand the whole scenario. And the thing is with Michael is that he's not very good at explaining himself, and he never really has been, because he's not a very social person. I mean, you're talking about someone who's been sheltered and sheltering himself also for the last 30 years, or, you know, and so he's not very good at communicating to people and not very good at conveying what he's actually trying to say to you. And so when he says something like that, you know, people, you know, he doesn't quite understand why people react the way that they do.
So here's number 1. These are all facts, okay? This is not conjecture. This is facts. The hallway leading to Jackson's bedroom was a serious security zone covered by video and wired for sound so that the steps of anyone approaching would make ding-dong sounds.
Wow, it's almost like he's the most famous person in the world that's been attacked by the media and tabloids his whole life, and maybe he's a little paranoid that someone would try to break into his home. I don't know. I'm sure there's someone that's tried to break into his home. What the frick is this point?
Jackson paid $25 million to settle the Chandler lawsuit, with $18 million going to Jordy, $2.5 million going to each of the parents, and the rest to the lawyers. Jackson said he paid that sum to avoid something long and drawn out. Francia also received $2.4 million from Jackson. Now, a lot of the defenders of Michael Jackson point to this as proof that these people are just
after money.
And so that supports the fact that they're liars. But,
by the way, that's what R. Kelly says too, right?
Well,
people just want money.
It's such an easy way to dismiss it.
Yeah, it's the easiest way to say.
But what remedy? First of all, this is such a genius play by Michael's lawyers and the whole propaganda machine, because first of all, Michael Jackson could never risk being found guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we would later find out he did have a risk of being found not guilty in the 2005 trial. 14 counts against him, clean sweep, not guilty. Also in the 2005 case, the district attorney, Tom Sneddon, that was involved in the 93 allegations and the 2005 case, he was pretty blood-hungry to put Jackson behind bars. He made it legal for this case, the 2005 trial, to include 1993 allegation evidence, including the witnesses and all the evidence from that 93 case. And of those witnesses were maids and bodyguards, and they sold their stories to the tabloids. So that's how credible they are. So Jackson was basically being tried for 2 cases at the same time. Also, I've heard so many different numbers about what the settlement was. Is it $20 million, $25 million? I've heard $28 million. I've heard up to like $40 million of what the settlement is. And no matter what, any of those prices, it doesn't matter. Here's an undisputed fact for you. He was in the middle of the Dangerous tour. Had he not settled and he has to go through with this trial or whatever is going to take place, and he's going to miss all these tours, he's going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars.
Michael Jackson decided to make a settlement with the young boy in question.
I think it was a big mistake. Michael Jackson was advised by business consultants and people in his music business to pay whatever it took to get rid of it. The idea was that they had bigger fish to fry. He was the biggest artist in the world. He had a glowing future in front of him, and this was just hurting him with bad press. So their feeling was, pay whatever it takes to settle it, get rid of it, and move on. And I think it was a mistake, because I think it just sent a message to others that, you know, why work if you can sue Michael Jackson?
Right. But you don't really pay $25 million when you're not guilty.
I wouldn't. I mean, I'm not Michael Jackson, though.
You guys also don't have Michael Jackson money either. $25 million to Michael Jackson, that's like throwing a freaking quarter into the mall water fountain for us. I mean, seriously, that's literally nothing.
Those who know him say it's a pure business decision. His advisors view the settlement fee as a small price to pay to get the king of pop back on the road. Previous world tours earned him and members of his inner circle hundreds of millions of dollars. $20 million for Michael Jackson is pocket change.
They say it's like a quarter. You know, you're going to make all this money. He did.
They said it's like a quarter?
Yeah, it's like a quarter to you. You know, it was $20 million's a quarter to you, whatever the settlement was. He listened. He got talked into it, and he settled. Because he didn't want to go through a trial. He wanted to go on tour. He wanted to promote his record.
You know, there's an interesting detail about it. Do you know who his lawyer was in that case?
No.
Cochran, right?
Johnny Cochran.
Yeah,
Who's that?
the guy who represented the other
O.J. Simpson.
man who was acquitted of crimes.
Wow.
Do we all agree that O.J. Simpson is guilty? I love how everyone points to the justice system as the end-all, be-all.
That, yeah.
O.J.
That
Simpson
really-
was acquitted.
If you think all the evidence they had in the O.J. Simpson case and all the evidence they had in the Michael Jackson case are at all comparable, I'm basically talking to a brick wall at this point. All right, let's go down the list of things they found for the O.J. Simpson case. They found a bloody glove, hairs consistent with O.J. Simpson on Ron Goldman's shirt. Found cotton fibers and blood in O.J. Simpson's car. What did they find in Jackson's house after 2 FBI raids that he didn't expect at all? Nothing. No videotapes, no incriminating letters. They couldn't even prove he gave alcohol to children. They had nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
The fact that the documentary is one-sided, it's like, yeah, that's kind of like the only option.
Well,
I mean,
that argument, for me, doesn't make any sense because...
and also, what would it help if, they'll ask Michael's family what
Yeah.
they think? We already know what they
Yeah,
think.
he's not guilty.
Yeah, we already know what they think, so let's not show their side of the story at all, where they can dispute any of the claims being made in this documentary, which they have to do now after the documentary is aired and after all the damage is already done. Couldn't talk to Tom Mesereau, Michael Jackson's lawyer, in 2005. He spoke to both Wade Robson, heard his false story, talked to Michael Jackson. He still thinks Michael Jackson is innocent and Wade Robson is lying. We couldn't talk to him to get another point of view. We couldn't talk to any of the hundreds, maybe even thousands of children that have come into Michael's life and have nothing but positive things to say about him. We can't talk to any of them. We just want to hear one side of the story. What do you mean there's no other option? So this documentary tells one side of the story, doesn't do any background checking on their stories. It's just these guys' stories. It's basically a long YouTube Wade Robson, James Safechuck story time, freaking Tana Mojo edition, and you should just believe them. And if you don't, well, you're enabling pedophiles. What the frick is wrong with you, you idiot? How could you dispute their claims even though it's proven that they're lying? But you're enabling a pedophile. What is wrong with you?
But ultimately, again, they were not in the bedroom. We all agree that he slept in the bed with them, right?
No, I don't agree that he slept in the bedroom with him because he has always said he doesn't sleep in the same bedroom with him. His whole case revolved him not sleeping in the same bedroom with him. And that's the danger of this documentary telling only one side because you only hear that one side and you just assume it's true. I'm not going to act like I know what happened because I'm not there. But when I do my own research and look at all the facts and not just speculation and generalizations of who Michael Jackson was, I come to the conclusion that Michael Jackson never did anything wrong and these guys are lying for money.
The one guy that sued him, that it was dismissed,
Wade.
So Oprah asked him, well, why did you sue him? You know, like what? How isn't that proof that it's about money? And he says, well, it's the only way I could get them to listen to me. I felt like there was this great injustice. I wasn't thinking about money. I wanted to put it in front of a court, and I wanted people to have to listen to me and to what happened to me and what I have to say.
Like I already said, Wade tried to get a settlement with Jackson's estate with zero media publicity. Make it all hush-hush. He only went public after they refused to not pay him a single dime.
Also, using the same platform that he used before to defend Michael.
So powerful.
This guy went on trial twice defending Michael when he was brainwashed. And he didn't understand the whole picture. He didn't understand he's been abused. And he was the super fan of Michael, and he couldn't imagine Michael going to prison. He was like, I gotta save him.
A lot of people wrongfully assume Wade Robson was still a kid when he defended Michael Jackson in the 2005 trial. No, he was 23 years old. You're telling me a 23-year-old man doesn't know sexual abuse is wrong, as he is a witness in a sexual abuse trial. Wade Robson also claims that Michael Jackson told him, let's just assume this is the truth, Michael Jackson said, hey, if anyone finds out about this, I'm going to go to jail and you're going to go to jail. So clearly he knows something is wrong here. So Michael Jackson, the evil mastermind that he is, he's going to send someone to the stand that he sexually abused as his key witness. And it's not like Wade Robson's just answering yes or no questions from Jackson's lawyers. He's got to go through cross-examination. You think Michael Jackson's going to risk his freedom and his reputation on a guy that he freaking boned and hope he doesn't crack like Jack Nicholson's character in A Few Good Men? I think here's something we can all agree on, whether he lied back in 2005 or he's lying right now. He has committed perjury. A little fun fact about Wade Robson and the whole, can he be tried for perjury? He can't even be tried for perjury because when he released his story back in 2013, he released it right after the 7-year statute of limitations period. I guess I can't be tried for the freaking perjury now because it's too late.
Now, also there's another misconception. The guy who sued Michael Jackson, the case was thrown out. People show that as evidence that Michael Jackson is innocent. The truth is that the case was thrown out not on its merits, but on the statute of limitation. It was a technicality. The court said, Michael Jackson's passed on. We can't hold his estate, his business, liable for this crime. And so they threw it out on technicality, making no judgment of the merits of his claims.
Oh man, it really ticks me off when people just take court judgments at face value. Am I right, man? I mean, that just can't be the end-all be-all. Am I right? I mean, you've said that yourself earlier. How about I read something from an article? It is important for me to add here that the second lawsuits were thrown out for more than just statute of limitations issues. Particularly in this case of Robson, some in emails caught him in blatant lies about his abuse claims. He had sworn under oath in 2016 that he only discussed his abuse in one handwritten communication, only to have thousands of emails surface showcasing him crafting and changing his story, as well as attempting but failing to get a book deal out of it. So even if it wasn't thrown out for statute of limitations, his credibility is completely out the window because he's been caught in so many freaking lies. Okay, so there's this part in the segment where Ethan was breaking down a little meme that Jackson supporters were tweeting that just a whole bunch of information is thrown onto this picture, and it's a mess. So I agree with Ethan on this. This thing pointing to this as doing your research and freaking, oh, this proves it. No, all the information on it is super vague, worded super confusingly, so it's like I can agree with Ethan on this. But there was one part where he was breaking it down where he sounds really stupid.
He was tried for 4 months and found not guilty. That's true, but it doesn't mean he's innocent. He was found exactly not. Couldn't even get him on a misdemeanor. Well, he wasn't tried for a misdemeanor, you idiots. You don't even know how the law works. Like, that's such a weird point.
The 2005 trial consisted of 10 felony charges and 4 misdemeanor charges. The charges included 7 counts of child molestation, conspiracy to commit child abduction, conspiracy to commit false imprisonment, conspiracy to commit extortion, and 4 counts of providing alcohol to a minor. Those would be the misdemeanors that they were talking about.
I don't understand this whole movement of like, oh, you're just gonna believe a documentary. It's like, sorry, but
What's wrong with documentaries?
I really trust HBO. I love it, everything they make.
Well, HBO is extremely credible.
They have to go through so many lawyers,
Absolutely.
so many approvals.
Oh my God,
they're putting the whole company on the line.
Yeah, well, parts of this credible documentary have already been cut out of the freaking documentary because Taj Jackson, Michael Jackson's nephew, disputed the timeline and credibility of some of the stories that Wade Robson was telling. And before its airing in the UK, the documentary that was over 4 hours long in the United States and has been cut to 3 hours and 15 minutes for the UK version. So that's a whole over 45 minutes of stuff that they just chucked out because of it wasn't right. So just because you like freaking Game of Thrones on HBO doesn't mean everything they put out is freaking credible.
After being pressed by Piers Morgan, other outlets began to question the veracity of the documentary as well, with Michael's nephew, Taj Jackson, and even his brothers pointing out the self-same timeline discrepancies I itemized in the video you just watched. And wouldn't you know, just in time for the UK airing of the documentary, those segments simply vanished.
Just a couple more facts I want to bring up before I end this video. At the end of the documentary, we see Wade Robson burning what appears to be a Thriller jacket. And the director of the documentary, Dan Reed, said, yeah, this is the real deal. No, it wasn't, because Wade said it was a childhood replica of a Thriller jacket. Wade actually sold some of his Michael Jackson memorabilia back in 2011, a fedora hat from the Smooth Criminal music video and forearm gloves from the Bad music video. He sold both of those items in 2011 for over $80,000. He wanted to remain anonymous when he sold them, but the company that handled the auction didn't agree to that, so we actually know it was Wade Robson. Here's another little fact for you. In the documentary, Wade Robson's wife said she didn't know anything about child molestation. But on the Robson Child Abuse Healing and Prevention Fund website, it actually said that she was also a survivor of child abuse. So, what the frick? That's conflicting. And also, they deleted that part from the website, so also it's not there anymore. But I got screenshots for you, so you're welcome. Just a few more things I want to throw out there about James Safechuck, because we didn't really talk about James Safechuck that much. It's been mostly about Wade Robson. But James Safechuck claimed that Michael took him on a honeymoon to Euro Disney in 1988, but Euro Disney didn't open until 4 years later in 1992. So it's kind of Kind of hard to honeymoon on a construction site. Safe Chuck also said he was molested in Los Angeles in 1989 when Michael Jackson performed at the Grammys. There's two problems with that story. One, Michael Jackson didn't perform or attend the Grammys in 1989, and the Grammys were held in New York in 1989, not Los Angeles. Safe Chuck also said Michael begged him to testify in the 2005 trial, but Scott Ross, a private investigator who was part of Michael Jackson's legal team in 2005, said the judge didn't want him and considered him a non-entity. So what the frick is going on? Oh shoot, I just scrolled down and found another fact. I almost forgot about this. Glad I didn't. Safe Chuck also said he spent Thanksgiving at home with Michael Jackson in 1987. But Michael Jackson was in Australia on Thanksgiving in the middle of his tour for his album Bad. So apparently Michael Jackson is not only an incredible singer, an incredible dancer, a freaking sexual abuser, he is also a freaking teleporter. Michael Jackson, the man of many talents, folks. Just a final note I want to say to the people at H3H3, I'm not going to start hating you guys or your content. You know, I've been a subscriber for a pretty long time. I'm not going to start hating you because we disagree on one topic. If I changed your mind on the subject by presenting my facts and arguments, awesome. If not, oh well, agree to disagree. You know, you can't just suddenly hate on someone because you disagree on one thing. And obviously, Ethan and Hila, they make a freaking career out of telling their opinions on subjects. So, you know, eventually down the road, you're going to disagree with them on at least one thing. So I'm not going to start hating on them. I'm not going to start hating their content. Just was a little miffed because this is a very sensitive subject for me because I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. And I just truly believe he's a great guy. And all of his intentions were innocent and pure. So that's all I got to say. No hard feelings. Just wanted to debunk the arguments because you guys have a huge following and you have a huge, you know, you can persuade a lot of people. So I just want to make sure you guys get all the information out and just don't present any wrong information. Hope I made myself clear as to why I think Michael Jackson's innocent. I hope no one disregards all my points just because I'm a Michael Jackson fan and it's like, oh, he's a Michael Jackson fan. Obviously he thinks he's innocent. I think I've thrown a lot of facts. I've thrown a lot of arguments out there that clearly my stance is reasonable as to why I think Michael Jackson is innocent. Alright, this was a long video. I don't know how long this is. I still need to edit it. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but let's wrap it up right here. I'm Matt Mamba. I don't know how to close videos. Frick. I don't have a closing for the video. Be right back. Boop, 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 boop. Wade Robson is not my lover. He just a guy who wants some money from me. 'Cause he claimed I touched his wee-wee. Hee hee! Woo! Okay, that was awful. That might be my worst closing yet.